All right. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, so much better.
Good. Everybody out there, can you raise your hand if you can hear me okay, please? Or leave a chat. What's up, Tanya? Good. I'm glad you hear me perfectly. We were having some microphone issues this morning, kind of put me into a tailspin. Here's some player advice. Make sure you're using the right microphone when you're trying to do something because it was all a mess. So good. Rick, what's up? So many familiar faces.
Yeah,
How's everyone doing? You guys doing good? Look
I'm
at
doing good.
all these familiar faces. Good. I like your shirt. We're all
Thank you.
swagged
Cheers.
out. We got the Reside swag going. Mark, Jason, you got
Tilapia.
Samantha. Yes. All right. Amanda, Brandy, John, good. Turley, what's up, Rick? Ross, we're meeting after this, so don't be late. All right, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey,
Hey,
how's it going?
good.
Um, I'm super excited to have you, Lauren, here, and all of our guests. Look, I know your guys' time is valuable, and I'm super excited to have you here. And you're in the right place. Today's webinar is going to be packed with strategies that you should start using immediately, like today, to drive more sales, boost productivity, and dial in your ops. So if you're in real estate, whether you're a small team or growing a mega team, or you're somewhere in between, you know that keeping operations smooth and efficient is the key. But it's also, in my experience, one of the most challenging parts of running a team. So let me ask you this. It's an introspective question. Do you ever feel like you or your agents are spending too much time on busy work instead of making calls or closing deals? Do you find that sometimes the ops side of things starts getting in the way of what you want your agents to do best? Selling? If you're nodding your head right now, you're definitely in the right place. So today we're going to show you exactly how to solve those problems and free up more time for what matters the most in this business, selling and recruiting. Lauren has three awesome strategies that are going to help you close those operational gaps, fix your transaction management, and ultimately, the thing we all want is drive higher productivity. And the best part, you'll be able to implement these things right away. So let me quickly walk you down what to expect. First, I'll be introducing you to Lauren, who's an absolute beast when it comes to real estate ops and productivity. Then we're going to dive into the training where you'll learn the exact steps to optimize your ops. And finally, we're going to wrap things up with a live Q&A. So here's my ask is you guys will have a bunch of questions, no doubt. If you put them in the chat, I'm going to be distracted and it'll totally squirrel me. I get squirreled pretty easily for those of you that know me now. The
Me too.
older I get, the more I get squirreled. Um, so we're going to do a Q&A at the end. There's no pitch at the end. There's a Q&A at the end. So keep all your questions. If you do want to put them in Q&A, be patient and we'll answer them at the end. So before we get into the main event, let me quickly introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sunit Agrawal. It says so on the screen. I have a real estate team, brokerage, mortgage company, property management company. I coach and one of the founders of Reside. I've been the number one agent in California, number one team here in Sacramento for years, and we've grown really quickly. I've only been licensed for, I think, 11 years now, and I know firsthand that scaling a team is no easy feat. I ran into a lot of the same challenges that you're probably facing now, right? Wasting time on tasks that aren't moving the needle and just trying to keep everything smooth while focusing on sales. But once we figured out how to streamline our ops, everything changed. Our agents were able to focus more on making calls and closing deals, and we saw a huge boost in business. And that's what we want you to achieve today. So by the end of this webinar, you will have the tools you need to make that happen for your own team. So let me introduce Lauren. She's a client success manager at Reside. And like I said, she's a beast. I have my notes here. She's a rock star when it comes to optimizing ops for real estate teams. Lauren has been working with real estate teams across the country for years, streamlining their ops, training and coaching their admin and VAs, and to help build scalable systems that will grow your business. She's led initiatives and projects and everything from client onboarding to agent services, and she's worked closely with hundreds of real estate teams, hundreds of real estate admins, and probably almost 1,000 VAs, right? The best thing about Lauren, and what I'm most excited to have her on here, is this isn't a bunch of fluff. This isn't a bunch of BS. Trying not to cuss at webinars anymore. It's not a bunch of fluff. It's not a bunch of BS. It's not theory. It's proven stuff that works. She's going to show you how to fix those gaps that are holding your team back and how to empower your team to be way more productive and to close more deals. So she's going to break down the exact steps. So by the end of the session, I'm telling you, we're going to lay it all out. You're going to have a clear roadmap. It's going to be up to you to implement. Okay? How's that sound, everybody? Good?
Sounds good to me.
All right, good. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Lauren. She has all her awesome content and her slides, and it looks great, right? And she's going to go through her slides, go through her incredible content, and at the end, we'll do the Q&A. Get ready. All right, Lauren's got her deck up, and I will pass over the mic. Go for it, Lauren.
Beautiful. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Sunit. So we just got through some introductions, so I'm going to skip through the first few slides, but I'm Lauren Rathgeb. I am the Client Success Manager at Reside Platform. I have coached and scaled hundreds of real estate teams over the past couple of years. I've been in real estate since 2018. I started as an executive assistant and moved into transaction and listing management, servicing teams across the country. So, if you give me your contract, even if it's a state I haven't worked in before, I'll be able to run and build out your processes in the matter of a week, most likely. Take that from start to finish. So after I was an EA and I moved into TC, or transaction coordination and listing management, I moved into an operations manager role and helped our local team that I was working on become the top in the state. So I really believe in leaving things better than I found them. And my team was in really good hands. I was able to replace myself with 2 people. I'll get into that in a few slides. And I felt really called to start my next journey, leading a team of more than 100 operators across the country and a team of hundreds of virtual assistants. So I was overseeing about 74 operations, 74 teams, their operations, and coaching their integrators on systems and training. So today I work alongside some of the top coaches in the industry across North America and help out our 50 teams within Reside really scale and the framework within their own operations. So let's get started. The strategies we are going to talk about today are ones that I've found most successful when building your real estate team. Excuse me, you might be a team leader that is looking to start your team or looking for leverage. You might be a functioning team looking to break the ceiling and go to the next level. You may be $100 million team looking to revisit some of the basics and best practices, slowing down to speed up. So regardless of where you're at, we're going to discuss elevated fundamental best practices that you can take and implement immediately. So what those look like: how to find and hire the right team members, how to identify operational holes and fix them, how to supercharge your agent's productivity through leverage, and how to generate more reviews, more referrals, and recruits through operational efficiencies. I call this scaling yourself up for success. It's a 3-step plan to boost operational efficiencies. So one of the most common problems I hear from team leaders is, I'm running all the operations, I'm leading the production, and I want more time to grow the team and be present with my family. So what I ask them, are you fully leveraged? Step 1 is, we're going to define your who. Who is that next person that is going to help, replace you in the areas you don't want to do? So if you are in production and you love production, this does not mean you need to stop doing production. It means it's going to give you more time back to do more of what you love. So the next step is setting up to scale. And we are going to tailor this to the client experience, setting up your listing management and transaction coordination systems, and then in successfully completing 1 and 2, how you can create that culture of productivity. So step 1 is hiring, defining your who. Keep in mind that no one will care about your real estate business as much as you do, but you can find the strategic right partner to drive that vision forward. So you are going to identify your personal why. This identity shapes every decision you make, how you interact with your team, and how you face challenges. So you're going to discover your mission. What is the impact that you want to make within your community? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Can you accomplish that alone? Some questions to help with this are, what type of leader do you strive to be? How do you like to be communicated with? What type of person would you build your tribe with? How does somebody win with you and how does somebody lose with you? Have you done a good job of communicating these things to your team? You can hire the right people who play devil's advocate, but who are also going to respect your decision once it's been made, even if they don't agree with it. Okay. So there will be admins in your world that are high level talent and align with your vision and your mission. They are unicorns, they exist. And I'm going to show you how. So, a key step in scaling your team is hiring the right people to handle back end tasks like operations. Today, we're specifically going to focus on listing management and transaction management. You might hear me call it transaction coordination. That's what I learned, but it's transaction management and transaction coordination. So your ops team, let's hire and develop your staff. This is my makeshift org chart. Take it with a grain of salt. This is for about 100 units or less. We'll get into if you're doing more. You don't need a big team to make a big impact. You need the right people on the right seat of the bus. When you have strong systems and standards, you develop strong leaders, and your ops team is that leadership team. The most common mistake I see between team leaders and their support staff is a lack of communication. Be sure when you're talking with your people, you're talking with them about 4 out of 5 days of the week. It really should be daily, okay? These are the people that are driving your business forward. They should be hearing from you, and you should be in communication with them. So when we're talking about our team's operations, first ask yourself, how am I contributing? How are you showing up for your team every day? Do you show up? Are you on time for scheduled meetings and events? Do you honor your admins and agents' time? Do you recognize your team for the work that they're doing? Your energy is contagious. How many times do you walk into a room and you can just tell someone's energy is off, they're negative? Do you want to be around them? What does that do to your mood and your mindset? Exercises in your head. I like this person. I like this person. Or it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. Just regenerating yourself so that you're not getting influxed with that negativity. With your admin team, a really good practice is having a non-negotiable weekly meeting for about an hour. I like these on Mondays. They've been a game changer. A way to structure this is talking about last week's focus. Did it get done? Did it not? Why? What's the focus for this week? What's the health of your database? Are the agents logging in every day? Are they not? Who are your target recruits? What does the agent's production and their monthly goals look like? So where are they actually at? What's the gap? And what did they say that they wanted to do? And then for recruiting, who do you need to get in front of? And then who do your agency need to get in front of to get ahead of their production? So some things to ask yourself are, have I done the work myself? Do I know how the operations should be set up to best align myself for that business? And have I given my team the tools, the resources, the training and support so that they can contribute at their highest level? This is my person, okay? The operations specialist. This person can do it all. They are the backbone and the glue to your team. I also refer to them as culture keepers. I know because I've done this role. So to define the operations specialist, this is the integrator who handles your team's day-to-day operations. This person manages the client experience. They hold the agents accountable, they track your numbers, they run listing and transaction management, and they are your right hand. That is the culture keeper. I know this works because I've done this role. We established that I was on a local team. So for about from 2018 to 2021, I was on a local team in Vermont, a very tiny state, and I was the only admin at the time. I was running all the plays, transaction coordination, listing management, financials, executive assistant tasks, you name it, whatever the team needed it done, I did it. So 2021, the market was insane, as we all know, and we leaned into it. On average, I was carrying about 50 pendings, and my capacity, not my capacity, but the max that I did at a time was 78. That was on top of inputting about 20 listings and managing the client experience. That was my one thing. I really needed help, so I went ahead and asked for it. So in came my trusted virtual assistant, who is an absolute rock star. She's still on the team today, and together we closed about 200 deals just in that year. She took so much off my plate so I could focus on my one thing, which was the client experience and agent productivity. So let's define this virtual assistant, okay? They are your operations specialist. They're the ones who are working the back end, completing database audits, posting to social media, pulling reports. This person ensures that your integrator has what they need to really drive that team forward. It was a true partnership between myself and someone in another continent. How did I make that work? I indoctrinated them into the team. I met with her daily. I slowed down to speed up. I took the time to train her. In the depth of the day-to-day and 50 plus pendings, I did not make any excuses. She was my shadow. I showed her how to do the job, had her show me, and then I gave her feedback. And together we made a 50-page manual without AI, and that is still implemented and audited to this day. So I say that all to say, if you're concerned about expenses and overhead, it's possible to run your operations with a smaller team that has bandwidth. How you hire the right people in the systems. So for people doing 130 deals and under, your key ops team is really the operations specialist and the virtual assistant. These are your strategic partners. They handle the day-to-day operations, they own listing management and transaction coordination, they lead from the front, and they show up. We're going to talk about the search when creating a well-defined job description and the interview process. So the framework of this is making sure that your job description outlines exactly what the role is and what you expect out of that next hire. I've encountered countless times when employers leave gray areas and ask more from their people that has nothing to do with the role. Indeed is a really great tool to use, and it can be free. So for if this is your first hire, or even if it's not, you're looking to make your next hire, look into the average salaries for comparable positions in the area. If you're going in low to start, you're likely going to get an entry level candidate. But if you're going competitive, you're probably going to get someone a little bit more experienced. There's always the middle too. It doesn't always work out perfect. Sometimes you do go through some people, you learn from that experience, but then you do find that person. We're just showing you how to get to that person a little bit faster. So for the interview process, you've probably heard slow to hire, quick to fire. I don't really agree with that. If someone doesn't understand something, train them, set expectations. If you've done that and they still don't get it, just document everything and put them on a performance improvement plan. Give them one last chance to really show you what they've got. And then if they're not performing, let them go. But give them the chance to show you that they've earned it. Don't be held hostage by your well-intentioned but woefully unrealistic expectations of how you hope your admin will behave. Make sure you have a really good onboarding process, a really good training process, implement a 30-day, 30, 60, 90-day plan to help them succeed. This is really what a day or a week in the life of what an operations specialist, their schedule can look like. Excuse me. What does the rhythm of your week look like? We all have 24 hours in a day to get things done. So why is it that some people accomplish more than others? Really, it's not that you have a time management problem, you have a time choice problem. So really prioritize the top 20% of tasks that are going to generate the most value. What that can look like is, I have some examples laid out here. It's small on my screen, but processing incoming files, what came in over the weekend. If you're coming in on a Monday, a new listing or a new pending, have them prep CMAs. All of this is leverage for the agents so that they can go lead generate. Okay. So if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. So utilize the notification settings, the description cadence, and color coding in your calendar. You know, a lot of things that I hear from admin or even team leaders is, I don't have enough time in the day to even eat. I'm working through lunch, blah, blah, blah. So put in there, when are you going to eat? How long does it take you to get from point A to point B? Whether you're driving to work, you're driving home, pour into yourself, maybe meal prep the night before. Are you spending too much money on DoorDash and there's a financial issue? Be mindful and prep and really dig into some self-development there. Ask yourself, when do you have the most energy? Get the most important things out of the way first thing in the morning so that you have enough time to spend with your family after you've won the day. So if you're doing more than 130 deals, again, take it with a grain of salt, where you're at, meet yourself where you're at in your business and take the right next action to how you want to get to more production. These roles are going to differ from team to team, and your ops specialist might move into an ops manager role and then a director of operations role. Okay. So what you need to think about is, as your team grows, has your current lead admin earned that right to become director of operations manager, a bigger role on the team? What that's going to look like is they're the true integrator. They lead and they manage their ops team if you have multiple staff. They own agent accountability, and they're a strategic partner to the team leader. For a transaction coordinator, they're going to run contract to close, 100% financial accuracy. They own the entire client experience. The listing manager, pre-appointment paperwork, drafting listings, marketing, MLS input, working with vendors. And then your virtual assistant, they post to social media. They do compliance checks. They can do the MLS input, claim sales in your CRM, and add the dates and deadlines to your calendar. Has this person demonstrated trust, knowledge, execution, and leads with integrity alongside of you? Allow them to step in and own their role. Who do you bring in next? What does your lead admin not enjoy the most? For me, when I was running a team, it was the first thing I leveraged off was listing management. It completely drained my energy. I passed it off to somebody better than me, and they thrive in it to this day. So for transaction coordination, listing manager, these can be the same person. Marketing manager for your virtual assistant. The VA can run all these plays as well. Whatever job is not getting done, that is what you're hiring for. So now that you have your who, we can move on to step 2, and that's going to be setting up your system so that they scale. The 10,000-foot view of an operations team is like peeling back layers of an onion. Our goal is to supercharge your agents through leverage. And the first layer we are going to talk about is the listing and transaction coordination process. The critical parts of these is setting up systems so that we can scale and do more production. So if you have a strong transaction and listing management process, you're going to be able to maximize your agent's time. And the outcome of this is generating repeat and referral business through service. You do not need to overcomplicate this. You get back to what works. So these are our critical operations. What does every real estate team need to run scalable plays? You need a who. That's, in this case, it's going to be a transaction manager or a listing manager. You're going to need a workflow, systems and processes documented out. You're going to need a checklist, bonus points if you're able to get a really great transaction management system that has triggers and automations in it. You're going to need a communication cadence, despite if there are no updates to give. You're going to need that transaction tracker, project manager, where everything is going to live, and a mission through service and impact. So some really good transaction management systems out there are Open to Close, Sisu, Brivity, Google Sheets. If you want to be more expense cautious, Airtable, Monday, and Trello. There are just so many good transaction management systems out there. I've worked with many of these. They work. Figure out what works for you in your P&L right now. These not only help you track your financials, but really manage the entire file with checklists, triggers, automations from start to finish. So if you are using Monday, Airtable, or Trello, you can set up an integration, whether it's native or through Zapier, to save your admin team duplicated work when entering these into your contingency tracker. So a little bit of a story time. We're going to talk about the handoff. So excuse me, back in high school, I was a D1 runner and my sports were indoor and outdoor track. My favorite event was the 4x4 relay, and that was the very last meet or last event of every meet. So, the goal of this race is to run one lap, 400 meters, as fast as you can and hand off that baton without dropping it or crossing over into somebody else's lane. All four of us, my team members, knew the order that they were running in, and we needed a seamless handoff to the next person in order to win. We didn't cut corners. It was a smooth process. So how does this apply to real estate? It's the same concept with handing the file over from agent to admin, or listing or transaction manager. The agent has done their job in converting the client. So now it's the admin's job to run their play and take that file over. So we're going to cue leverage and delegation. So leverage is the use of something to maximum advantage, and delegation is entrusting a task or responsibility to another person who is typically less senior than oneself. First, we got to get our mindsets right around letting things go. So this is a really hard thing for myself and a lot of people. I'm sure Sunit on this call, where we're business people, we like to control. But the best thing you can do for yourself is learn to give somebody else an opportunity for growth. So it is not you giving up, it is not you being lazy. What you don't do determines what you can do. I'll say that again. What you do not do determines what you can do. So for agents, if you're not the one calling the attorneys or the lenders or sending updates all the time to the client, you have more time to go lead generate and work on your pipeline and go serve more people. We're not just talking about profitability here. What kind of impacts can you make throughout your community? If you grew your world and your business, what could you go do that helps out and serve somebody else? So it's not about you giving up. It, excuse me, might be understanding that there is someone out there that is better for the task at hand. Really having and utilizing people in the right seats on the bus protects your relationships and it creates less resentment. Okay, so what does this look like? Are your agents running their own transactions? This goes back to our leverage conversation. Are they the best person to be handling that job? You don't need to be the best at anything unless you're our guy Sunit on here. He's truly is really good at everything he does. I've seen it. I'm giving you permission to step into your strength and create a growth path for somebody else. Our mindset should be everything is a system. So what do you want your 2025 to look like? Set up your systems to handle the amount of production you want to do and achieve those 5-star client experiences. So what we're going to talk about first on setting up the scale is your listing management process. And this is where we're going to start. The goal is to mitigate stress for the client. So I like to say service is not one size fits all. We love automation, but ensure that you're creating a personal touch as well for the client. When I say it's not one size fits all, it's one size fits one, okay? So for the client experience, we can run duplicated and repeatable plays, but just remember, everyone's their own person, how people like to be communicated with. Do they prefer receiving a phone call, text, or an email? What generation did they grow up with? It's really thinking of, okay, for example, my grandmother just sold her condo in Florida not too long ago, and she wasn't doing DocuSign. She wasn't going on the computer. Really having that in-person touch and just handing over the documents, getting that hard signature, sometimes that's the white glove service you really need to do. Also understanding what's the reason that they're selling in the first place. Is it a really happy reason, or is it a major life event that they were really impacted by, not positively? How you approach every situation is key. So we're going to talk about how you can leverage your listing management in the following stages. From the pre-list appointment to the coming soon to the active and going into the pending status. This is our pre-list appointment workflow. This is not when the agreement has been signed. This is before it and how you can leverage your admin. So really by caring about the client experience, you're creating an opportunity for repeat business and putting out fires before they start. So we talked about the who. This is your listing manager. We're talking about the workflow now. Your agents can start notifying your admin as soon as you have the appointment scheduled. Your agent should be scheduling and holding a minimum of 2 appointments a week and having about 35 connects, which is 2 minutes or more conversations every week. So that's a minimum of 8 appointments. And 140 2 minute or more conversations every month. So, what do your agents say that they want to do for production? What are they actually doing? What is the gap? So if you're doing the right activity, have them utilize your admin, that VA or that ops specialist, prep those documents beforehand. This is going to save your agents a lot of time. If they complain about submitting an intake form, it's going to take them a couple of minutes compared to taking more back and forth time without having all of the information up front. So we're going to talk about intake forms. Why not have your agents submit an email and just forward everything? Because that gets messy. It's not a scalable process. We love agents. We just can't place required fields also in email. So getting all the information up front saves a lot of time and money. What you're going to do is create a robust pre-appointment intake form so the agents can draft the listing agreement, the admins can draft the listing agreement and your listing presentation ahead of the appointment. Imagine just showing up having what you need so that they can focus on the client and their needs, not about the little mundane back-end office tasks. This is really the compound effect because this may save the agents a few minutes, but think of how many minutes that's going to save them all year. That's so that they can go get more reps and on the phone and secure another appointment. And just remember, every no does lead to a yes, and that's money back in the agent's pockets. So you can also have your agent go on the appointment too. We're talking a lot about white glove service. So does your listing manager have the bandwidth to go with your agent? They can step into the home, take notes, and make your team look the most professional. How to save your agents, your admin more time? Give your admin a virtual assistant. They cost between $3 to $7. The Philippines are amazing. Onlinejobs.ph.com, Argentina, Venezuela. I've worked with them all over the world. They're such great humans, and they want to work. They want to work hard for you. Treat them like your stateside employees. So when you do give them your admin a virtual assistant, your ops specialist can go on those appointments, take notes, and then begin to prep the MLS. One thing I do always like to know is, as a listing manager myself, I never really stepped into the houses, and I wish I did because it was so hard to create those listing descriptions, not encompassing what my surroundings were. I was just really relying on those photos. So it's a really effective way to get a better description out for the MLS as well. So the appointment's been secured. The agent's going to submit a listing intake form or changes the deal stage and follow-up boss. Then the admin is notified. For intake forms, excuse me. For intake forms, I always recommend that this is completed regardless if the stage has been changed in follow-up boss. Communication is the most important part of the transaction. Communication between the agent and the client, agent and the admin, and admin and the client. These intakes forms are the perfect way to streamline this, especially as you scale. We are in the human relationship business, and we need to focus on minimizing human error. So this is the handoff, making sure that intake form is submitted. Think scalability wise. If you're not using open to close and you're using Google Sheets or an Airtable, have them integrate or zap into your contingency board with an email notification, and have the agent on the email notification so that they have confirmation that the file went through. You are only as good as your checklist, so work them, okay? And this gives the team leader and agents visibility into the transaction as well. And communication, I'm just going to keep hammering it down. Communication is everything. So it also restates the mission that you're going to do such a great job that the customer or the client won't be able to wait to leave you a review, because remember, these are the reviews are the lifeblood of your business. So if we're not setting that expectation up front, we've lost already. So the next stage is the coming soon, and some tips and tricks here are, if you're using Follow-Up Boss or any CRM with stages, update that status in Follow-Up Boss. There are other CRMs out there as well. I've totally focused on FUB. I have tried and true. It works. So celebrating your agents, internal team communication, that wins. You could use Slack, Google Chat, WhatsApp, GroupMe, or have the listing go to a distro email for visibility. So when you submit that intake form goes to the distro list. All the agents are on there. They know that, hey, we either have a new listing or so-and-so just got a new pending, and we can celebrate because we call this no agent left behind. Your team really wants you to win. So another way to win is having a vetted preferred vendors list, having your admin reach out to schedule photos, have a staging plan. We're going to talk through how to win with marketing in the next slide, but just make sure also that everything is in compliance and have a compliance tracker. Your VA can run this if you do not have a transaction management system. You can also use an e-signing service like Dotloop or DocuSign for the ease of paperwork. You can order any home warranties ahead of time, and keeping the client updated every step of the way because they're trusting you with their biggest asset to sell. You can generate some coming soon marketing and ensuring that showing time instructions are accurate. This is not just residential, but if you are working multifamilies or want to start working multifamilies, know tenant information ahead of time because the tenants aren't always willing to work with you. It depends on the landlord situation. So marketing is another really big step of the listing management process. You can have your ops specialist or your virtual assistant prep the listing so that your agents don't have to. I always recommend doing this. Knowing your audience, we can position strong marketing to net your clients more money through really great, beautiful graphics, videography, photos, and you can also generate custom marketing plans for each home as well. This can be through videography or a booklet. It could be both. I've seen a lot of success through this. Make sure that you are not being a secret agent. You are using social media like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube is a really big one. Think of yourself on Instagram. What are the most common things that are going through your feed if you have it? Same with Facebook. People are looking for house videos, real estate. They love it. They attract to it. The most common thing I hear of, oh, I want to get into real estate because I love looking at houses. Be the agent who those consumers are always looking at your social media. So video really wins. And setting the expectation with the clients that you have a professional team behind you that will run open houses all weekend. So some active listing. This is the stage. It's finally active. We can generate just listed market. Do not be a secret agent. Let your sphere know that you're the trusted agent who is selling their house in that community. The more reps you get, the more that neighbors are probably going to come to you because they just saw that you sold their neighbor's house. You can gather some reverse prospecting lists from the MLS, go import those into Excel and then email those lists out. We call this reverse prospecting. Get more visibility, market any open houses, make sure that the open houses were put into the MLS. That's a common fail I see. We don't double check to make sure that the open house was integrated and generated, and really being proactive. Reaching out to your clients first, implementing a weekly cadence, and letting them know when they can expect to hear from you, regardless if you talk to them that week or if you have no updates. Clients do not like to be kept in limbo. Think if you've ever sold a house, how did you want to be communicated with by your agent? And this does not mean that your agents stop calling as well. Every Friday, have the agents call. It's coming from contribution. It's a care call. How are you doing? Regardless if you've spoken that week, even if there's no news, communication always wins. So for listing management best practices, the goal here is to position yourself as the professional and create a white glove experience. Remember that marketing does matter. So have a set day of the week that you go live. Wednesdays are awesome. You have enough time to get the marketing back if you're prepping about 7 days ahead, and then generating that coming soon, getting a lot of curiosity around it so that people attend your open house over the weekend. That's what I mean by have about 7 days of prep time so you can proactively market the listing professionally. A lot of the times you're like, hey, here's the listing agreement. I want this live tomorrow. Have you even contacted your photographer? My next point is build rapport with your photographers, stagers, and handymen. Likely they already have a shoot scheduled. If you build really great rapport, they are likely to help you with last minute projects and need a favor, but just watch the time frame that you're asking those favors in. You don't want to go live without the photos. So this is the last slide on listing management, but I've worked in various MLSs. Please make sure that you know your rules and regulations. The easiest way to burn money is through MLS fines, and some are more strict than others. Take a class that's offered by your brokerage if needed to, or your MLS board. But for listing management best practices, put into coming soon status if that's possible, or delayed showings. As I said, all MLSs are different, so just know your rules and regulations. This is going to give you ample time to really ramp up the listings for open house attendance and multiple offers for your clients, and enter the home and shoe covers. Super simple, super white glove experience that you could do. Dress professionally, you can arrive with a gift. Maybe you don't have a closing gift. Maybe you do an arrival gift. Regardless if they sign with you or not, you're leaving that brand and impression on them that you came from generosity. Okay, so we are moving on to the transaction management stage. Some tips and tricks to implement immediately. So really leading up to the buyer pending, you can also leverage your agent on the buyer appointment side. If you are not auditing the database for 1 hour every day, you're losing money. So make sure your agents are logging in every single day and working those ponds. If they haven't hit those ponds with the last communication of 30 days, pull them out. They're not getting those company leads if they're not working them. Have a virtual assistant do this if needed. And some ways to make this actionable is always coming from contribution. So if you're sending market updates to your buyers each week, you're setting them up on custom e-alerts. Those are email alerts through your IDX, which is your website. If you need help, contact your website support team. They can help you set this up. And send a weekly new home preview updates to your potential clients. So leading up to the buyer appointment, it's the same process with your listing management. If you need a buyer broker or anything, make sure that your admin is prepping those docs so you can just take them off or have a team folder, run them off ahead of time. And you can also provide a home buyer guide, and this is either physical or electronic. So the transaction management workflow, your who is the TC. We're going to really focus on the workflow here. Fun fact, day 0 and 3 days before closing are the most important days I've found in the transaction, because day 0, this is your retention with the client. This is going to impact if they are going to give you a review or not, because did you set proper expectations on what to expect? Did you tell them when that deposit was due or when they should expect that received? Depending on what side they're on. When are deadlines for the inspections? When is the appraisal? Who is holding escrow? What are the next steps? This is really how you're going to win with your client. And then 3 days before closing is your settlement statement is typically due. Every state's different with what they call them, HUD, CD, Alta. If it's not a cash deal, have you been proactive with all key players in the transaction to really ensure that you're on track for closing? Have you provided the disbursement authorization form? Some of us call that the CDA, some of us call it the DA. Regardless, are you tracking those and did you get them? The communication cadence, intro, email and phone call to the client. Really, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? It doesn't matter which order you do it in. Just make sure you're doing both. If they don't answer, leave a voicemail and let them know that you will be sending. Always follow up with the next step and always recap an email. Regardless, documentation is everything. Also, make sure that you have an intro email out to the attorneys, the title company, the lender, and the co-broke. Every milestone deserves a phone call and an email update. We can do buyer and seller follow-up Friday emails. Make sure you're CCing the agent in everything. The agent calls the client to check in weekly, even if there are no updates to provide. That is a common theme that we have. With the transaction management best practices, a common problem you might run into with some team members are I'm being contacted 24/7. So this would be coming from your admin. So maybe consider putting boundaries on processing times. When does your TC have a hard stop, Monday through Friday? Or are they working Monday through Friday? Agents are running 1,000,000 miles an hour. So it really goes back to that intake form, having a streamlined process to submit information, making sure you're double checking those commission disbursement authorization forms and uploading them into a folder after settlement and tracking them by months. That's a really helpful tip for tax purposes. And remember, also going back to considering boundaries, are your title companies, attorneys, and lenders are typically only Monday through Friday. So have your transaction coordinator's hours reflect that as well. So, and also another fun fact is when you have your trackers, ensuring that whatever is on the CDA matches what's in your financial tracker. We have a lot of deposits that come in that the check doesn't actually match what we have in our tracker. So the CDA is going to tell you what the actual story is. So wrapping up our scaling on the transaction management side is saving all settlement statements and creating an email draft to send to clients on January 1st. This is one of the most effective client experiences, especially when you're contacting your clients after the deal has closed. My favorite tool is Boomerang. It's a free Google, or it's not free, but it's a Google extension. Your first 10 emails are free. It's not a huge cost every month, every year. Look into it. It's my holy grail. You can schedule emails to be sent out in the future. It helps you with inbox zero. It's perfect for those settlement statements. Set it and forget it. When you upload that settlement statement, you can have it go out January 1st. A virtual assistant can do this for you. Some more best practices are always use courteous language. It is never no problem. It is always my pleasure. Really creating that professional experience. Don't swear, don't badmouth, don't gossip. Even if it's your sphere, start showing up how you want people to see you. That's the fake it till you make it. That's how you're going to win. And that's how you're going to win more clients as well in your SOI. So also another thing, if you don't know the answer, don't say, I don't know. Respond with, that's a great question. I'll let you know, or I'll go find out for you. So the second order of this is the how transaction management and listing management really maximizes your agent's time because we're operating in our strength zones. The agent's focus is generation of new business through leads, okay? So what does this look like? Team leads, SOI, past clients, referrals. The outcome here is people are buying, selling, and investing in real estate. And your operations team is going to handle the 80% of what your agents were focusing on. So what does this look like? They're having a strong client experience process, the pre-appointment on the listing and the seller side, listing management, managing the coming soon to the active process, transaction management, managing the contract to close under contract process. That outcome is going to be repeat and referral business through constant client care. The inverse, if we don't have these things set up, is when we don't operate in our strength zones, we operate in a state of chaos, which is going to lead to resentment, which leads to burnout, which leads to agents leaving your team, and leads to clients not wanting to work with you again in the future. So the third order of this, setting up to scale, is the result of steps 1 and 2. It's the outcome of having really good processes in place. Your admins are the ones owning the transaction. Your agents are still involved, but they have more time to work on their pipeline through a lead generation and nurturing their database. And this is how we lead through a culture of productivity. So our final step is step 3, culture of productivity. The best culture is one where everyone is winning. Winning cultures treat performance as an explicit output and foster an environment that is conducive to generating the best possible results, not just for employees, but for clients and owners, okay? So how do we foster this type of environment? We create and we uphold staff KPIs. How many of us have joined a company or worked for a business that didn't have a great onboarding process, didn't have a great training process, and did not give you metrics so you knew where you were going? Define the KPIs for your team, provide an avenue for the team to track performance against the defined KPIs, and align those KPIs with the most impactful areas of the business: client satisfaction, lead generation, lead conversion, and financial performance. So for example, does your transaction coordinator know how many closings you're at year to date? How many agents are productive within the first 90 days of joining your team? Operational standards lead to better agent activity and productivity and happier clients, which leads to repeat business. They're going to create raving fans and we'll get into that in the next slide. But when we don't have these metrics in place, the result is a culture of chaos. And when the expectations are clear, the leader leans in and the standards are held, and you empower your admins to be more successful. So when people really want to feel like they are being led, they're not being told. So when you create a winning culture that empowers your team to have more autonomy and own their performance, you really foster autonomy on your team and shift away from managing, which is going to result in better collaboration and better results. So this is what winning through a culture of standards looks like. We're going to actually tweak the word standards to agreements, because standards sometimes has a negative connotation associated with it. So if we can all agree to doing the right activities, how we show up Monday through Friday, team events, how we report our numbers, are we in FUB every day? Are we holding a minimum of 2 appointments every week? And are we having 2 minutes or more conversations each week, 35 connects? Whatever those standards look or agreements look like for your team, implement them immediately. So an activity that you can do is, can you tell me your numbers? Do you have trackers? Are you tracking these? How many listings are you at year to date? Do you know what that agreement sign date is? The go live date? Did you have listing, or did that listing have any price reductions? Are you tracking those? The expiration date, the commission rate? How many of those are actively pending? Buyers versus sellers, lead sources, splits, cost of goods sold, under contract date, targeted close date, actual close date. And how many of those are actually closed? And did you pull that settlement statement? Did it push at all? Are you tracking all that information so we could dig deep and put the right agent trainings in place? Can you pull those numbers up right now and answer them right away? So setting and upholding KPIs. These are KPIs examples. Take them and tweak them for your team, for team leaders, operations, and agents. Team leaders, model what you expect out of your agents and practice what you preach. Lead generate with your agents, show up when you expect them to show up, hold 5 standing meetings weekly. It doesn't all have to be at the same time. If you saw back in my rhythm of the week slide, I had Thursdays in the afternoon and all the rest in the morning. Script practice daily, spend an hour in the database, inspecting what you expect. Agents, spend an hour in the day inspecting the database. Agents, aim for 20 to 35-minute, 2-minute conversations per week and hold 2 appointments minimum each week. And don't forget to log into your FUB daily and report your numbers. This might go for team leaders too. For operations, every transaction you run should generate the following 3 R's. We're going to start with 5-star reviews. This is how they impact your business and your reputation. They build loyalty and trust. They give you an unfair share of the market. They provide a really strong online presence and a community impact. Referrals are giving you escalated trust and credibility. They are streamlining lead generation for you. There's a higher likelihood to close deals when we can do so much with profit. And they build really strong client relationships. And then finally, repeat business. You create these raving fans that are going to talk about you when real estate comes up. So this gives your staff the autonomy to own their roles because they have a clear path of what to do next. So congratulations, you made it through all of that. We're going to recap with, it starts with you, how you lead, who you bring into your world, how you serve your team, and how you set up your scalable processes. Go ahead and find your strategic partner to drive the business forward and care about your team, your clients, your expenses, and set up really scalable processes to handle the influx of production despite market conditions. Just a couple more. And from putting service leverage and the client impact at the forefront of your business, you're going to generate more sales and boost your recruiting. You are not only upholding the client experience for your agents, for your clients, but creating an experience for your vendors, your co-brokes, those co-brokes are future prospects that will want to join your team in the future because you have your processes so buttoned up and you've positioned yourself as the professional local expert, and people are going to gravitate towards your leadership. So that generates into a culture productivity that you build with empathy, accountability. It's the best form of love you can give your people by holding them to the agreement or the standard that they agreed to. Okay. So to wrap it up, start with your why, develop yourself, and then develop your people. And then we'll have Saneet hop back on and tell you about the next one.
All right. So why don't you take the slide down real quick and we'll go. Oh, bye-bye, honey. Do you want to come say hi to everybody on the video? This is what doing real life is. Okay, bye. Have a good day. Preschool starts at 11 o'clock this year. Anyways, Q&A time. I saw some comments in here. Yes, if you registered for this webinar, we will send you a link to this. And if you want the copy of the slides, we'll go ahead and send those too. Just make sure to check your email. Lauren McLean, it is recorded. Like I said, Brittany will be sending out the recording. Here's a question, Lauren, from Test. Test. What are the suggested work schedules for W-2 admin? Great. Are they likely required to work evenings?
It depends on the admin role. So really, I think if we're talking about a culture keeper, and so if you have that ops specialist, they're likely going to be more that 8:30 to 4:30, 9 to 5. However, if you saw in my weekly calendar, we were running things called call nights, so that switched up the rhythm of the week. And so the admin actually gets the morning off, and then we come all together from 3 to 6 and lead generate and switch up that lead generation, if that helps. So you can really switch up how you have people show up weekly.
Let me just give you guys like some HR advice. Really early on in my business career, I hired an HR consultant because I didn't want to get sued, and I live in California. So no matter where you are, look up the local labor laws on how to pay people, right? Like this position, and I've seen many people try to do this. People try to do a 1099 admin. And let me tell you, it's not the way to do it. Okay, it's either salaried or it's either hourly. Lauren, do you have any thoughts on that? I know you probably don't look at this as much as I do, but
with the we work with a lot of 1099 virtual assistants.
Well, that's different.
Yeah, I know. Most of the admin I've worked with are W-2s. The 1099s are third parties you're likely going to hire out.
Yes, exactly. Okay. What other question? Oh, here's a great comment. Lauren is amazing. Thank you. Lauren, I got 2 text messages. I just got this text. Man, Lauren is good. Even at his best, my ops sucked compared to this, right? That's why we hired her, dude. What about admin attending listing and buyer appointments?
Yes, I like it. I do like the listing appointments because it really leads into the white glove. And you're going to have to find the right admin that's willing to go, because some of us just like to sit behind the screen. So if they're not willing to just go out and change up the day, they might not be the right fit for your team. It's also no judgment if you do want an admin to sit in office all day. But why I say leverage them on the appointments, especially with listings, is they can get a feel for the house and they can do a much better job marketing it, especially with those listing descriptions. And you just look professional, bringing somebody in, taking notes.
Okay, here is a question from Amanda D'Alessandro. Do you still have the agents handle inspection, appraisal, negotiations, or is this something the TC handles?
I would say have the agents handle that. That is what they're licensed for. That is what they're good at. We do have some teams that have their agents or have their admin negotiate those. I don't always recommend it. I don't know if Sunny agrees. Okay, Sunny agrees with me because that's what their job is. You know, I don't always say that's not my job, but have the agents negotiate.
Yeah, like I think it can be prudent if you are doing a request for repairs or some kind of negotiation, and the admin is this is part of their gig is I want the agent on my team or brokerage to write it out, and maybe they send it to the admin to put it on a DocuSign and send it once the agent reviews. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
We got a lot of Reside clients in here just texting me saying how stoked they are to work with Lauren every week. Here's one. What do you prefer, open to close or CSU? And before you answer that, Lauren, Chad, I don't think this is the right platform to talk about things that we prefer. There's lots of good transaction management out there, software. And here's something for you guys to really consider is almost all your brokerages provide you with something for compliance.
Mhm.
Right? So instead of thinking that you need to go out there and spend more money, use what the brokerage provides you for compliance to its extreme. Do you know what I mean, Lauren? Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with that. Especially when you're looking at your P&L and your expenses, no matter the size of your team, you should always be trying to cut. So transaction management platforms, I do recommend to get one, but for compliance wise, if you're using Brokerman or Command or SkySlope, see what functionality that can leverage, master that, and then start looking into transaction management systems.
Yes, exactly. Good answer. Let's see. There is more questions in the Q&A. I missed most of this. Sorry. What software do you track your ops and SOPs in?
It depends if you have a transaction management software. That's really
Monday.
good. Monday. Yeah. Monday is what we currently are using for tracking everything.
Yeah. Monday is what I use to track all 6 of my businesses in one place. And I love Monday. However, do not rush out and purchase it. It is not cheap. If you do have questions about Monday, send me an email to sunit@resideplatform.com. There's other things like a Google Sheet, right? You can do a lot with a Google Sheet. There is ClickUp, there is Asana. We like Monday for its integrations, the communication, and it's so stinking pretty. Okay. We also got a question from Devin about which HR consultant. Devin, I would find an HR consultant in your state, so they know your local state laws.
It's just like the MLSs.
Yeah, just like a lawyer too, right? Like do something in state. Just started using Asana from Caitlin Lanford. I love it so far. Are there any other questions? Okay. Can you please put up? I'm in California. What about Gusto? I use Gusto for my payroll. I don't know about Gusto with their HR. I would explore it. Okay. I'm sure that'll be fine depending on your size. Okay. So please put that other slide back up. Let's go ahead and put the link in the chat. So did you guys come to our last ResidePlatform.com goal setting? So you guys, we are doing a monthly free webinar series just to get you guys going, just to get everybody making more friggin' money. And our next one is October 15th. Very timely. And it's resideplatform.com goal setting. Resideplatform.com goal setting. Go there, sign up now just so you have it in your calendar. Once you sign up, you are on the list to get the recording. I worked with Mia on this one yesterday. It was fire. Like I was tripping. It was so good. Like it really made me think. So make sure you sign up for that. One more question from Jason Daniels. Jason, Lauren went into that, and that is start with Indeed, bro. Always start
Did Sunit freeze?
With Indeed. And Lauren is accessible and she will actually train your admin staff. So you guys sign up for this, resideplatform.com, goal setting. Lauren's done several podcasts.
Links.
Oh, it does say October 10th.
We'll get that updated.
Damn. Yeah, we'll get that updated. Amanda, just go ahead and sign up. And we will fix that date. Thank you for telling. It is October 10th. Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so go to the Reside Platform podcast. Lauren's done 2 or 3 episodes. She's going to keep on doing them. You guys tune into our webinars once a month. And now that you sat through this for an hour and 5 minutes,
great.
Don't just let it be fluff, right? You guys go implement. Okay? See you next month. Later, guys.